Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's call. I'm Sandy McClure from Colorado, and I'm joined tonight by Casey, Anyika, Makesi. I just called you Casey, Makesi, Anyika, and Makesi and I actually met in Thailand. And this was just an interesting thing. If you're any part of Life Anage, you know we got to go on these spectacular trips. And I was drawn to him. And every time we go somewhere, we just kind of connect and we have these conversations. And just recently, we were in Utah, and this is why Makesi's on the call with me tonight, because we were having a conversation, just kind of talking, standing around. I make a joke, talking crap, because we literally were talking about gut health and digestive health. And I asked him, I said, I'm doing a group challenge right now, and we're going to be on gut health. And I would love for you to come in and talk to the people, talk to my people about what you've just been talking with me, because I loved standing there and I was just thinking if everybody could hear this conversation, it was just remarkable. So he agreed, and I'm just so grateful. That's just the way it is at Life Vantage. You have so many people who are qualified and ready to jump on and educate anybody they can. So Makesi is a computer science graduate from Cabrini College in Pennsylvania, but you wouldn't know that about him other than he's just very intelligent. He told me his name means intelligence. He's now a successful entrepreneur, originally from Trinidad and Tobago. He lives in New Jersey and he has four daughters, twins who are 7. And I did meet his beautiful wife as well in Thailand. Just a great couple. She is in education, so I was naturally drawn to her as well because I'm a former teacher and coach. Makesi is an elite performer and multi-million dollar producer with a microbiome company called, he put Love Biome and Life Vantage, because those two companies merged and now we're together, and I couldn't be happier about that merge. He is the CEO of KQuest Vision Global, which is an organization dedicated to helping people with personal development and leadership opportunities. And that is not going to surprise you once you hear this gentleman's talking. He is amazing. He's having lots of fun traveling. Thailand was a lot of fun, educating many about the gut, brain, and skin microbiome activation. And most importantly, he's helping people all over the world to transform their lives for the better in so many ways. And Makesi, I'm just, again, thrilled to have you on. And I could share a little bit about me prior to us getting started. For those of you who don't know me, Sandy McClure, I'm almost 62 years old. I'll be 62 years old on July 4th. I am a former teacher and coach. I was in education for 26 years before I switched. Who changes occupations at 48 years old? Completely. Well, that was me. I didn't know anything about direct sales, but I did fall in love with some products, and I decided this is something I need to share with the world. And it just happened for me that I reached the top ranks. And part of that is just because I'm surrounded by so many wonderful people. And those people know that when you've got a good thing, you share it with everybody you know. So I left teaching and coaching in 2014. And in 2015, I was hit with a curveball. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was one of the last people I ever thought that would happen to. I've taken good care of myself most of my life, all of my life. I've been an athlete. I don't do drugs, wouldn't even know what they look like probably. I'm not a big drinker. I've done things right, but something was not right with me. And I did not know that my cells were damaged. That cell damage leads to disease. And so I got a bilateral mastectomy. I was, told that my cancer was very aggressive, got a bilateral mastectomy, went through 20 weeks of chemotherapy, and I felt not very good when I was done, but I just thought that was the residual effects of chemo. But what happened is the implants that they put in me were making me sick. They were absolutely toxic to me. So for 3 years, I did not know what was going on. I've got some pictures that I'll share with you at some point if you want to see. I looked like a monster. Literally, my eyes would swell up and I had so much inflammation. When I learned about breast implant illness, and I asked to have those things taken out. And the doctor said to me, "Do you know what you'll look like if you do have them removed?" And I said, "Do you know what you'll look like if you'll say that to me again?" Uh, that happened in 2019, April of 2019. In May of 2019, I was introduced to LifeVantage. What a blessing and a God thing. And I didn't have any really bad detox effects from that. And so many prayers were answered. That's a story for later. Lots of things happened to me along the way. But being through everything I've been through, I decided this is something that I didn't know anything about. I'm not going to let that happen to anybody else. So with that, if you have questions for me at another point in time, I'd love to share a little bit more of my story. I've got a lot of stories to tell. Makesi and I have shared some things just with the gut health things, and I'll share a little bit about that too. But your story is never ending when you continue to use the tools that God gave you. So, Makesi, you're really qualified, and you talked to me about how you were really digging in and kind of self-taught on microbiome, and it was just something that really interested you. And for me, especially in LifeVantage, there's so many amazing professionals in this company. I've seen a lot of direct sales companies. There is nothing like this to where we have so many qualified wellness professionals. I don't like to call them doctors. There are illness professionals out there and there's wellness, and we're wellness here. But somebody like you, Makesi, with your qualifications, what led you to look into Love Biome that then joined LifeVantage?
So first of all, I want to thank you, Sandy, and again, I know I'm your guest on this call, but I just want to ask everybody to put some fire emojis in the chat for Sandy because I think that story is fire. Like it has the classic, storyline of things were great and things were not so good, and then she was able to persevere and overcome. So let's give us some let's show us some love in the chat, guys. I think that is an amazing story. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There you go. There you go, Sandy. All right. So, for me personally, I've been on the gut health journey now for over probably about 7 years. I started like really getting into it when I actually tore my Achilles, right? Being a weekend warrior, you know, and playing basketball. One of my friends convinced me that I was still young, but you guys might not know this. I'm in my 40s, right? So in any event, and I have four daughters. So in any event, I thought I was still young and I tore my Achilles and it sat me down for about 6 months. And during that time, that's when I really started looking into different ways for my body to repair itself. And one of the things that I discovered in that process through watching all of these different ads. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Stephen Gundry. He's a heart surgeon, professional, and he um, he talked a lot about gut health. He said you can avoid a lot of things in the body through, if you get to the gut first, if you're proactive with your gut health. And that was cool, but I still didn't bite. But then I saw this commercial with the Avengers, right? I don't know if you guys watch Captain America and Iron Man, and I'm a Marvel fanatic. So there was this commercial where this lady named Dr. Amy Lee out of California, and you can look her up. She created a product called Mucific X4. And that product, was the way she explained how she helped all the actors lose weight with this product and all this stuff had me so excited that I bought it, and then when I bought it, I remember my wife saying, "You really bought this stuff? Like, what does it do?" And I was like, I felt so ashamed at the time. But here's the best part of the story is this. I'm gonna fast forward. She ended up getting the products too. Right, because she saw that I was losing weight, I was feeling better, my body was repairing itself. So that was exciting because I saw that the product worked, but then there were some small, subtle side effects that I started noticing in terms of like my bowel movement and things like that. So I started looking for other products. I looked at Dr. Stephen Gundry's product. I looked at Steve Harvey had a product called Elevate, right? I looked at, and I'm sorry, Sandy, I'm giving you the long answer, but hopefully it helps contextualize it for everybody, right? I looked at Athletic Greens AG1, right? Athletic Greens. I looked at so many different products. Halle Berry has a product. Chuck Norris had Roundhouse Kick, right? I looked at that. It had like six plants in there. I'm like, well, you need more than that. You know, we're talking about God's pharmacy. You need a lot of plants if you wanna address the gut, guys. So in any event, I just became obsessed with it, and I just really loved the fact that I was able to have my body repair itself as I started using some of these different products. And I saw the good and the bad in each one. And inevitably, I had a friend of mine reach out to me about this product called the Daily Three. And I was not, I didn't want to look at it, but she said gut health. And she didn't know that I was into gut health, like seriously. And once I looked at that particular product, it was called the Daily Three. Now it's known as P84, and it's in my backdrop here, P84. Right? I promote it all the time. But basically, that particular product had 84 natural ingredients, 21 different countries that they harvest the fruits and vegetables from. It's clinically tested now, and it is just a really powerful product that when it comes to gut health, and it checks all the boxes that many other products does not, right? So when we talk about activation, we talk about activation instead of supplementation and instead of medication, right? Activation is the ultimate, in my eyes, the ultimate way to go. And when you can activate the gut, that puts you in a very advantageous position to help the body repair itself, right? And also, if you're dealing with issues, to help you get back to where you originally were in terms of your fitness, right? And the reason why is because remember, every day we eat, and every day your gut must absorb nutrients, and many of us, our gut microbiome is not absorbing the nutrients properly, so your body cannot regulate, repair, and restore itself, right? So this is why the gut is the center of everything. In fact, one of the studies that I saw was exciting to me when they said one of the clinicians on PubMed.gov, if you go to the National Library of Medicine, he said your gut can function perfectly without the brain, but the brain cannot function without the gut. So he was challenging the fact that the gut might actually be the body's first brain instead of, the saying right now is that the gut is the second brain. But he talked about the gut in such an amazing fashion in terms of how intuitive it is, and it does all of these things without you having to think about it. Like it naturally just, anatomically does these things. So anyway, I rambled a lot. So, Sandy, I'm gonna kick it back over to you. I don't know if that was a long answer in terms of my gut journey, but it's 7 years now, 7 years later, and I love it.
Well, I didn't know we were talking to Superman. That makes me so excited.
That's
Nika,
how they lost weight. Captain America, Iron Man, Superman, all of the Marvel and DC guys, they were on the gut health, the microbiome thing. That's what got my attention. So yeah, that's it.
there you go. I love it, and I've been using LifeVantage products, the activators, and the Gut Health Essential Stack, which is the probiotic, prebiotic, and the Protandim NRF2 for 7 years, almost 7 years before I added P84. And I'm going to address this real quick because I took that thinking I didn't need it. I did the smartest thing, one of the smartest things I've ever done in my life. I had a gut zoomer baseline test before I ever introduced P84. Well, actually, I took it one day and I noticed something pretty significant. And I'm like, I can't even talk about this because people aren't going to believe me because I wouldn't have. I just said, yeah, whatever. I would have rolled my eyes because in one day, within 24 hours, I had something very significant happen to me. But I did get that baseline gut zoomer test, Makesi, and I'm
Right.
so glad I did because I said 5 months later, I got another one. I'm astounded. I had one inflammation marker in my gut that went from 35 down to one. Unreal. But here's what I didn't think I needed this. I thought I'll take it. I don't think I need it. I don't, my gut health is good. My gut health wasn't as good as I thought. It's pretty good being through all I've been through, but I still have leaky gut. I still have that, and that's probably why I have some joint pain and things like that. But the very first drink of P84 that I had, I'm like, okay, let's see, you know what, one drink's not going to be much. And I knew I wasn't going to take more than that because I wanted to get that baseline test. I wanted to say, I want this to be clean. My hands, I was not able to make a fist completely.
Mm.
I can make a fist completely. I can punch anybody now. My feet are swollen from neuropathy from chemotherapy. It's unreal the swelling that's gone down on my feet. It hasn't completely gone away, but I could feel that inflammation leaving my body. And I don't know if it was that, but that's the only thing I changed. And so I couldn't wait to get that gut zoomer test. Somebody asked about that gut zoomer. I don't sell them. I had a doctor order it for me. But it measures everything. I'm telling you, it's the most amazing thing. Um, I couldn't wait to get back on this to see if that's what happened. And sure enough, 3 days after not taking it, I was back to not being able to make a fist. When I got back on it, I have not stopped since because I don't want to feel the way I did. But my test results said I am on track. I'm doing really great things, but I still have a ways to go. Isn't that amazing for somebody who's been taking care of herself this long and I still have a ways to go? So it's that long game that we're looking for.
I'll give you some rocket ships for that. There you go.
Thanks. I wouldn't even know how to do that. So Makesi, what just really intrigued me was the fact that you were self-taught. This is something that you started out because you needed, you were looking for something to improve yourself. How could you not share that, right? And so you are talking about the gut microbiome. It's the center of health. I loved what you said about you can have, your brain your brain is nothing without your gut. It's amazing to me, and I do know that connection. I never heard that said before. But you talk about it, why it's the center of health, and not just for digestion and detoxification, because a lot of people who think gut health, they think poop. They think, that's what they think, which is fine. Like I said, that's fine. But that if it's not working, I have friends who say, Sandy, I don't have a bowel movement for 3 or 4 days, sometimes a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like having terrible trash in your kitchen for you would never not take your trash out for 7 days. That's a problem. And so I want you to address that major factor when getting to the root of human health, because I think, and skin, I'm really interested in what you have to say about that piece.
Yeah. So the thing with the gut is that all the other organs are connected to it, right? So the gut microbiome is the center of human health. All systems, all organs are connected to the gut. So when you look at the gut, they call it axes, right? So the gut skin axes, you can type that in, guys, and go on Google, type in the gut skin axes, and you'll see that as within, so without, right? So if your gut microbiome is not on par, right? If you don't have enough what they call good gut bacteria diversity, right? Or if you have and not having enough um good gut bacteria, period, along with not enough diversified good gut bacteria. That they call that dysbiosis, right? And sugar is the major contributing problem to causing this dysbiosis. That is what leads to what Sandy was talking about with like leaky gut, where you have cuts and tears on the lining of the walls of the gut. And then you have all these particles of poop and bad bacteria and stuff. They start to flow through the walls of the gut. They get into the blood moves them throughout the body, and boom, you have all of these issues of inflammation being triggered everywhere, right? So, the thing that you need to know is most of the skin disorders starts within that world, that microbiome world. And when you see all the different chronic issues, you know that you have to address the gut. You have to rebiose the gut in many cases, meaning you have to get it back into balance by number one, giving it more good probiotics, right? And number two, making sure that it's diversified, targeted probiotics. Because when people talk about gut health, they say, I take probiotics. No, you need targeted probiotics to help with that diversity because sometimes you have a little bit more population of certain bacteria than others, right? So this is why I love the P84 product because it does all of this naturally based on the way it has been formulated. So people are able to rebiose the gut. Dandruff is a factor of the gut of your gut health, right? When you have scratching your hair a lot, the itchy skin, all of these things are a reflection of poor gut health. And people, a lot of us put on creams and all kinds of things topically, but you don't get to the root. You're basically just treating the symptom and not getting to the root of the issue, which is your gut microbiome, which is super exciting. So hopefully that makes sense, Sandy, as it pertains to the gut-skin axis. But you also have the gut-mouth oral axis, with your gums, your teeth, right? And again, sugar dysbiosis of the gut triggers inflammation, right? So think about how bad sugar is in the body anywhere. Sugar in your eyes is what? Like what they call it? Macular degeneration. Sugar in your hair. They have all these names, but basically excess sugar, your hair starts to fall out, right? If too much sugar in your teeth causes cavities, too much sugar in the gums causes gum problems, right? And remember, your gut microbiome is not your belly. It starts from your mouth. In case you don't know, from your mouth to the number two, from the rooter to the tutor, like we like to say, from the in to the out. So this whole region is where all these friendly species of bacteria reside. And many of us, we're eating all these sugars, so you're killing sugar kills good gut bacteria, right? And so it's so many fact. We could talk about gut health all day. There's so many parts to this, but so Sandy, I'm turning it back to you so I don't keep rambling about nothing. Right? Go ahead.
No, no, I love it, Makesi, because people don't realize that. When somebody told me, was it 90 feet? Is that
Yeah.
your
It's the
gut?
length of a school bus, 30
Yeah.
feet long. Yeah, 30 feet. If somebody opened us up and pulled out our gut, it's the length of a school bus. All of
Oh,
us. It's
that's crazy to me to think that. And somebody held up a garden hose and I was like, holy cow, and that's all folded up inside. But it makes sense and it starts here. And so I love that you're talking about that. I love that and I know that you're going to talk about the yellow activator too, the NRF2, protandem, because that in itself, we know what that does with the reduction of oxidative stress, the increase of glutathione. That's all going to help create that good gut microbiome too. But again, it's the factor of all. And I love that you said we need targeted probiotics, because when I talk to people, I ask them, "Do you take probiotics?" "Oh yeah, I eat yogurt." "Do you ever get people
right.
say that?" I'm like,
Oh,
good. I'm glad you do that. And that's important that we have those kind of
man.
nutritional pieces with it. But
And can I
they
add to that? I mean,
yeah.
I just want to touch right there, right? So, for instance, in the P84 product system, you have targeted probiotics, things like Lactobacillus reuteri, right? Reuteri helps with the production of a hormone called oxytocin, right? Some of us are mad, sad, angry all the time, and we have these mood swings, and we're popping pills, not realizing that those pills are just supplementing what your body is not generating, right? So it's not activating the pathways in the gut to produce it naturally. So this is a very critical distinction, the difference between activation versus supplementation or medication, right? So when you look at, and again, if your gut is not producing some of these enzymes, it throws off your mood. You become more anxious, right? If you think about like Lactobacillus acidophilus, right? That's one that helps with your sleep. It helps to regulate your nervous system. These are targeted probiotics. This is the difference now, where you're just not taking regular generic probiotics, which most people do. This is understanding how to activate these, how to get these little people in your gut to go to work for you, right? And more importantly, what are you have to feed them, right? So these probiotics actually need prebiotic soluble fiber. They need things like Jerusalem artichoke, inulin, and baobab fruit from East Africa. They need specific plants, and they need specific color plants, what we call phytonutrients, right? They need specific enzymes from plants like polyphenols. Guys, it's a rabbit hole that once you get into the gut microbiome, you start realizing it's a miniature world inside of you. And your job is to keep this ecosystem in balance. And once you keep it in balance, your chances of you getting sick goes down dramatically, and chances of you staying healthy increases dramatically. And that's really what you want, is to control this environment inside, as within, so without. So I just wanted to touch on that part right there, Sandy.
No, and I love that you said that because that's something that we were discussing too. And I think here's part of it, Makesi, and I know that a lot of people can relate to this, is many people will wait to till they have a major medical issue
Yeah.
before they try to take action. And what if we could avoid that major medical issue? Now, I went through one and I did not, I mean, I thought that I was the picture of health and everything, but if I knew that I could have supported this, I truly believe that my cells were damaged, you know, and I did not know that, but I could have possibly prevented that by being proactive. And so what I love what you said about we've got the prebiotic, probiotic, postbiotic, everything. I talked to one of the lead scientists when I first came to LifeVantage, and he talked to me. He said, Sandy, we have probiotics naturally. He goes in our body, but he said that good bacteria is there, but it needs to be fed correctly. And when I
Right.
added our prebiotic drink, it was an absolute game changer. And so I have people come to me, Makesi, and this is something that I'm addressing in this 30-day challenge that I'm doing. Number one, we have to focus on those pillars of wellness, the things that we can control, our rest, most people can rest, not if you're a young mom or if you're taking care of somebody, you know what I mean? But for the most part, we can say we need to get more rest, we need to hydrate, we need to exercise and just move our bodies, for goodness sakes. We need to have good nutrition, but then along that, if we can activate our bodies, turn those switches back on that have diminished over time, then we could
Yeah.
possibly avoid, because we can't claim to cure, treat, or mitigate anything. But what if we didn't have to get to that point where we say, if only I would have?
Right. Yeah, and that's so very true. And then when you think about like your stress hormones, right? Like cortisol, right? All of these things, again, guys, it's actually heavily influenced by the health of your gut microbiome. Okay. So you can't lose weight properly if your cortisol levels are up, right? You can't sleep properly if your cortisol levels are up, right? So again, keeping your gut microbiome in balance is great. Now, to add to that, your gut is made up of tissue, specific tissue. Those tissues, if you go one layer deeper, is actually made up of cells, right? A collection of cells make up tissues, collection of tissues make up organs. The most important organ is the gut because it dispenses all the nutrients to different parts of the body, right? But going back two layers down, right? Tissues, then cells. If you're For your gut and all the cells in your body to be strong, you have to make sure that you reduce oxidative stress. And therein lies where Protandim, NRF2 Synergizer, right? That particular little yellow pill, guys, it is incredible. This is going to activate your cells to start increasing, number one, the glutathione levels by 300%. It's going to help to increase your catalase, which is another type of antioxidant, which is really good for your eyes, your eyesight, right? It's also going to activate the SOD, right? Superoxide dismutase, right? That is another antioxidant that the body needs to fight off the free radicals that could potentially cause chronic issues in the cells. So if you have stronger cells, that means you have a stronger gut. And if your gut is on point, now as you take in the food, right, or as you take in different things that you eat, your gut now can be activated to absorb the nutrients properly and dispense it to regulate it throughout the body. It's a symbiotic relationship with your gut microbiome being the key organ and your cells being on point. The foundation to everything is of having strong cellular health because this is what slows down aging. This is what slows down a lot of the chronic issues that many of us develop over time. And the thing with oxidative stress is that you don't feel it, right? But you can actually do a blood test, right? You can get your T-bars looked at, right? You can go to your doctors and have get a blood test. And the most important thing I want to emphasize is that the Protandim NRF2 Synergizer, it is clinically tested to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Guys, nobody else could claim this. This is ridiculous. This is breakthrough science. And it's been around since 2005, right, by Dr. Joe McCord. So whoever invited you on this call, make sure you watch the ABC News primetime investigative report where they literally went through the process of checking the gentleman's blood. What was his name, Sandy? I forgot his name.
Oh my
The
gosh, no, you just
actor.
said it.
Somebody put in the chat for us. I know somebody.
I know who it is. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh
Oh,
my God. Yeah, and
me on the spot. John
yeah.
Cornelius, yeah.
John Canonis, yes, that's him right there. Yeah. Thank you. So definitely that is gonna, the protandem is your foundation for cellular health. And remember, if you go on PubMed.gov or the National Institute of Health website, you'll see that if you type in oxidative stress, there's over 400,000 clinical studies on this thing. Third-party independent clinical studies. And if you go on the same PubMed.gov and type in protandem, not the ingredients in protandem. Type in protandem. You will see over 25 clinical studies, third party, independent, researched citations on this product, guys. It is amazing in terms of what it has going on. And then there's the patents on there. There's three patents on it, guys. It's a very very. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just want people to understand the power of reducing oxidative stress and the power of having a healthy gut, right? When you have those two things, those are the two most neglected things. If I asked most people today, did you brush your teeth? You'll tell me, yeah, I brushed my teeth. If I say, did you take a shower? You'll tell me, yeah. But I say, did you clean your gut? People start getting quiet, right? If I say, did you address your oxidative stress? People get quiet. Most people don't even know what that means to read. How do I reduce my oxidative stress? How do I regulate my gut? What do you mean, a detox? A deworming? That's what people think. No, guys, though, and this is why I'm such a advocate. I'm an evangelist for gut health. I'm an evangelist to helping people with cellular health with oxidative stress. These are the two most important things when it comes to the foundation of your health, and it's neglected because all of these big companies are selling supplements and they're not addressing the root of the problems, which is your oxidative stress and your gut health. So hope that helps people.
Yeah, that's fabulous. A supplement will fill in the nutritional gaps, but it will not do what activation does. And we are the activation company. I'm so blessed and so grateful that Love Biome and Life Vantage made this connection because here's another thing, Makesi, when I started on the P84, I felt different. I didn't think I was going to feel different. And what I found, and from those tests that I took, is that my body now was absorbing what I was taking. It was absorbing. I was taking the activators and I was getting some, but not near what I was before. And so now that my gut is starting to go back to its normal state, then it's not letting things escape and I can absorb all of the goodness that I'm putting in my body and I feel it. And so I'm so grateful for that, my skin and everything. I did want to tell you that I have people come to me all the time, Sandy, can you help me lose weight? I said, well, let's fix your gut first. And you know
That's
what?
right.
They wanted everybody when we introduced Mind Body System, our natural GLP-1 activator. Um, I asked people because it got launched a little bit after, or it was going to be launched 2 months after I started. I said, let's get your gut right first. Let's get you activated so that your body's prepared for the next thing. That's the mind body. And I'm telling you, the people who did that, I've got one right here on the call, Lee Eastwood. She got her gut health right. She lost weight before we ever got the mind body, and she lost 25 pounds
Yeah.
because she got her gut right first.
And that's such a powerful thing. When your gut is in balance, you can lose the weight and keep it off easier than when it's out of balance. Because again, if your cortisol levels are up, it's hard to lose weight, guys. When your hormones are not on point, it is hard to lose the weight and keep it off. So definitely getting the gut right is like step one for anything that you want to do in the human body. And the beauty of the P84, unlike athletic greens or Chuck Norris's roundhouse kick or the Nucific X4, most of these gut products only focus on greens. right? You hear people say, eat your greens, eat your greens. No, they need, and somebody put this in the chat for me. You need to tell your family, your friends, your loved ones, eat your colors. Color is life. Greens are good, but good is the enemy of great. When people for greens only activate 25% of the probiotics in your gut. There are different species of friendly bacteria that only eat reds. That some of them only eat yellows. Some of them only eat purple plants, right? And blue plants. And if you're not getting those in there every day, you're not feeding them, they're like, Makesi, you're starving me. Where's my food? Where's my phytonutrients? Right? Where's God's garden? Right? They're asking every day they want it. So this is why when you utilize the P84, it's a powerful thing from that perspective. You get to eat your colors on a daily basis versus just the greens. And those colors are prebiotic soluble fiber for those bacteria. That's how they activate to start generating short chain fatty acids, to start generating peptides, and to start generating those things naturally, those metabolites naturally, so that your body can regulate, repair, and restore itself on a daily basis.
We take it to make it. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. And if we could just get people to listen, because I did not know any of this prior to this, and it's fascinating to me still to hear it today. You know, I did mention to you and showed you some pictures of my grandson who had some skin issues and he tiny little baby. And my daughter was just beside herself. And that's right around November when she started P84 just to take it to see what it was going to do for her. 11 days later, she nurses him miraculously. I don't know what happened, but his skin issues went away. And so I can't say that's the only thing she changed. But we do know that the skin is a beacon. It's like a lighthouse. And when it's got some kind of something showing, some abnormality, it's yelling at you, hey, I can't tell you what's going on the inside. So I'm going to put something out here on the outside so you'll pay attention. The dandruff you're talking about, all of those things, those are signals that you've got to focus on that gut health. So, you know, Makesi, oh, this is great. We could talk all night. We talked forever standing there in Utah, and this is why I love this conversation. You know, we're gonna honor everybody's time, and we've gone a little bit over, but I just want you to give me one more. You know, what's the biggest message that you'd like to leave people with about their gut health?
Yeah, the biggest message is this. You can be on the best diets, taking the best supplements, but if your gut microbiome is not activated, it won't absorb the nutrients so that your body can repair, rebuild, and restore itself. That's the biggest takeaway that I want everybody to walk away. If your gut isn't right, then your diets, your exercising, again, if your cortisol is up and you're exercising crazy, you're gonna find that you can't lose the weight. You're gonna find that you can't sleep. You're every time you try to go to bed, you're like tossing and turning. You can't because your gut isn't right, guys. So the key factor in this whole thing is just making sure that your gut microbiome is on point, and to make sure the foundation of the gut and the entire body is the cells. So this is where the protandum and the oxidative stress. So my thing would just be to remind people, get your cellular health on point, get your gut microbiome on point. The same way you brush your teeth and take a shower, it's the same way you need to regulate your gut and repair your cells on a daily basis. It's a win-win type of scenario. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I love everybody. God bless everybody, and I want you all to be healthier, right? We want to be healthy. Health is wealth, right? So it doesn't matter how much money we all have. If we're not healthy to enjoy this life that God gave us, then what's the point, guys? We got to be healthy. Let's stay on track and do what we got to do. So thank you, Sandy, for having me tonight, and I appreciate all of you guys jumping on and chiming in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Casey. And I'm going to go ahead and end this, and then I'll open it up for some Q&A if you're up for that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm game. Let's go.